The title of this book is Lord's End. It is written by our beloved brother Tigiok. It is written by our beloved brother Tigiok. We are in chapter 1. The title of chapter 1, Credential. Credential. Chapter 1, subpart 3. Colossians chapter 1 verse 8. But that we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. Chapter 9. As we said before, so say I now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you than that you have received, let him be accursed. So despicable was the imposition of religious legalism upon a people who had received the liberating truth of Christ that Paul pronounced a curse upon it. Life-giving truth has been delivered once and forever in the absolutely complete sacrifice of the Lord Jesus. However, in every age, there have been those charlatans or in some cases sincere but deceive will be prophet who will force upon seeking soul a false and damning religious system. Some have even been introduced by the alleged appearance of angel. This has happened in our modern era. Paul was aware of this probability. Therefore, he gave this warning: thought we are an angel from heaven preach any other gospel than that which you have preached, let him be accursed. The apostle did not overlook the eventuality that some deceiver might say that Paul had preached this message in other places and they had not heard him. So he added the warning: if any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed. Unfortunately, but not surprisingly, one of the fast-growing religious cults of our age, which of late has gained much respectability, began by just such an alleged angelic revelation. The Mormon Church, with its mixture of paganism, methodology, and Masonic ritualism, has become an exceedingly wealthy religious commercial organization. Because of its growth in number and wealth, its unbiblical doctrine and anti-scriptural practices are increasingly acceptable to many professing believers. The fact is that in our day of religious tolerance, biblical doctrine seems less important and criticism of false religions more repugnant, bringing charge of bigotry against those who will oppose the error. Even in Paul's day, such was the case. He knew that the road to popularity was not in attacking heresy that the people found acceptable. However, truth, not popularity, was Paul's objective. He was committed to their spiritual safety, not to seeking their approval. Verse 10. Verse 10 of Galatians chapter 1. For do I now persuade men, or God, or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Christ. Paul as we had as we had choice to make. One of them was either to please men at the risk of offending God, or to please God at the risk of offending men. For him, it was obvious and automatic. One could not be a servant of Christ if his priority was to please men. As Christ's servant, he was obligated to speak the truth as God revealed it to him, and to contend for the faith against the little error of the deceived teacher. So he vigorously defended his gospel and its source. Verse 11 of Galatians chapter 1. But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not of man. Verse 12. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it but by revelation of Jesus Christ. Verse 13. For you have heard of my conversion in time past in the Jews' religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the church of God and wasted it. Verse 14. And profited in the Jews' religion above many, my equal in 9 on nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the tradition of my father. Conversion of a rabbi. Conversion of a rabbi. Paul had a pass. Some might think it was not a particularly honorable one, but it provided to him a remarkable qualification to be an authority on the matter that he is now addressing. He had been a Jews zealot defending Jews tradition, defending God's law, indeed defending God's against the malevolent preacher of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Whatever he found them, he persecuted them to death. Such was the case when the young diacon Stephen was stoned to death under his watchful supervision. Amongst the rabbi of the Pharisees, he was a favorite. As he said himself, I profited in the Jews' religion above many, mine equal. He was outstanding in his age group as a young rabbi because of his almost fanatical zeal for the tradition of his father. He was an uncommon enthusiasm for his religion. As most Orthodox Jews, even today, he saw the worship of Jesus Christ as idolatry and blasphemy, both of which, in his view of Jews' law, were capital offenses. He felt obligated to hunt down and rid the world of this blasphemer. It was on one of his hunting excursions that he met the Lord Jesus, and his life was changed. Having received a letter of authorization from the high priest and the estate of the elder, Saul was on his way to Damascus to arrest the believer there. When he was struck down to the ground, he saw a bright light and heard a voice saying, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It was the voice of the Lord Jesus. Through that incident, the young Rabbi Saul was converted and propelled on his way to becoming Paul the Apostle. Verse 15 of Galatians chapter 1. But when it pleased God, who separated me from my mother's womb and called me by his grace, verse 16, to reveal his Son in me that I might preach him amongst heathen, immediately I confer not with flesh and blood. Verse 17, neither went I up to Jerusalem to them which were apostles before me, but I went into Arabia and returned again into Damascus. Verse 18, then after 3 years I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter, and about with him 15 days. Verse 19, but other of the apostles saw I none, save James, the Lord's brother. Like Jeremiah the prophet, Paul was known by God while yet in his mother's womb, and he was called by grace that God's Son might be revealed in him. Prerequisite to Paul's preaching Christ amongst the Gentile nation was the manifestation of the life of Christ in him. In this case, it is true that the messenger of the message. It is true that the messenger is the message. In order that Christ might be made known in Paul's word, he must first be seen in Paul's life. So it was that these proud, angry, religious Jews become an obedient servant of the Lord Jesus Christ, increasingly emulating his very character. From that first moment on the road to Damascus, Paul's relationship to the risen Christ was intimate. He did not consult with men to learn about the Lord Jesus